I can see you. Hi.
How are you?
Good. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. August, our littlest one, she turns 11 tomorrow. So I had this idea for her to redo her room. So that's kind of like what I'm doing today.
Oh no.
It's like, do this, do that. You can't come in here for like 24 hours. So yeah.
Also, she doesn't know what you're doing.
Well, she requested to get her room like changed, but she doesn't know what's happening. She
Got it.
had very little feedback or input. So yeah. So it's
Well,
going
that's gonna. I love a new clean room with new decorations and no mess.
exactly. It is like the best feeling ever. And hopefully it
Miss
will.
my mom doing stuff for me.
Oh.
And then you get old and then you do everything yourself.
I know, man. That's what being an adult is all about. Adulting can be fun, but it can also be like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a kid.
My little sister's 21 and she just moved out and she was like, I mean, I like my freedom, but I hate my bills. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh my
just
gosh.
get the freedom.
About your sister. This is really kind of a good way to start because how far apart are y'all in age?
9 years, almost 10. Yeah.
Wow, that's similar.
Well, I have two sisters. I have one that's a year and then one that's 9.
Got it. Okay. So how was it growing up like in Hialeah with like your family, your parents? Tell me about that.
Um, well, my parents, I actually lived in Homestead when I was like in my younger years before I was 7. So my parents got divorced when I was 7 and excuse me. And I lived like really down south in Florida. It's called Homestead. And so like growing up, we had like a nice yard and my dad was like really my dad was always really strict. My mom was more like relaxed with stuff, but my dad was always big on discipline. So like even on the weekends, like if we didn't have school, he would still wake us up at 6 o'clock in the morning and put us in the shower first thing, like a cold shower to wake us up, brush our teeth, and then go outside and we would have to do yard work. So either we would have to rake up leaves or we would have to sweep the floor, like the concrete where we would park the car, like whatever it was, help make breakfast, like. And then, after the day was over and we would take a shower after we did like our chores, we would go to like South Beach and ride around. Like we didn't have like a lot, but my dad would take us like to get ice cream. Like we would ride down Ocean Drive and we would like see like what was going on back then. Like this is in like the 90s, like the early 90s. So like South Beach, like Ocean Drive was different. It was like, people, it was like really popping. It was just different. It was life out there. Whereas like now it's not the same anymore. But anyway, we used to go out there and get ice cream. My dad wouldn't even let us get out the car, but we would like go like, just see what's going on, listen to music, put our windows down. And yeah, and I think that's when I was really like, oh, I want to be outside. Like I want to be like, I want to dress up, I want to wear heels. I wanted to be grown since I can remember. Like I was one of those little kids, like the little girls that you used to be like, oh my God, that little girl, what is she gonna do? Because you usually see little girls and you're like, she is fast and she's way too doing too much. Like unfortunately, that was me.
Like your dad taking you out, do you think you kind of looked at your mom as like being this beautiful person that you wanted to kind of, model
Of
yourself?
course. Yeah, of course. My mom was always dressed nice. My mom always had her hair done. My mom always had her nails done. My mom was young. My mom had me when she was 18. So it's kind of like if you had like a cousin or an older sister, So my mom was like a goddess when I was younger. Like she was the thing. Like she was the most beautiful person I had ever seen in my life. So yeah, when I was younger, that was another thing too. I wanted to look like my mom. So if I could just also my dad, his family is from Syria, but born in Cuba. So my dad has like a more like reddish brown complexion and my mom is very fair, like super light green eyes. She was like the milk. Like my grandma would always be like, your mom is like la leche, like she's like milk. She's like super fair skin. So I remember just always we are more on my dad's side, like more mixed.
Mhm.
And I would always look at her and be like, why don't I look like you? Why don't I look like you? Like, I just want to look like you. I want to have green eyes like you. She used to dye her hair blonde. We had, darker hair. It's like, I want to have blonde hair like you. I want it to be just like my mom.
Just like, so was she also the person in the house that kind of kept you all in check as far as what your eating was like? Or was she like, listen,
No, unfortunately, growing up, we didn't really have a lot of like structure when it came to food. My parents were young, so whatever we could kind of get our hands on while they were working or while they were getting things done or while my mom was on the move. Like, I grew up eating a lot of cereal, a lot of dairy products, a lot of prepackaged foods, a lot of fast food. The core of I guess my nutrition came from going to my grandmother's house, and then she would cook for us and she would make traditional dishes. But when we were at home, it was fend for yourself, figure it out. Like in our house, it wasn't like a home cooked meal type of thing, unless we went to like our grandparents' house, or unless it was like the weekend and we went to a restaurant and my dad could because we wouldn't go to a restaurant every day. That wasn't something that they could afford. But yeah, my parents were on the go, and my mom had me when she was really young and didn't really learn how to cook or do much what is that called? Women things. There's a name for it, but I can't remember it. But yeah, my mom, what is that called when you're like a woman of the house?
Domestic. Is it domestic?
Yeah, she wasn't that. She was more like the cute girl that had everything physically, but like the cooking part just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I grew up eating really bad. Actually, yesterday I did a post on my Instagram story, and there was like smoothies, and I was like, I'm one of the people that hate smoothies. I hate smoothies because they have a fruit taste. And when I was younger, I didn't like the beginning of my life, of my memories about food were not healthy. Were not like, oh, let's have a fruit or let's eat a vegetable. Like, this is things that I acquired as I became older. And I started getting into like entertainment, and there was a lot of talk about my weight and how I looked and what my appearance was, and if my face was chubby and whether my cheeks were too fat and whether I had love handles, and I needed to build muscle and I needed to be strong to dance. And then I started really realizing like, oh, the things that I've been eating don't necessarily give me the strength that I need or the nutrition to like actually burn fat. And so I learned to eat for health rather than for taste at an older age, like 19 plus.
Okay. I was going to ask you what age that was.
Yeah.
And how
so
difficult was that transition? Yeah. How was that transition? How was that transition going from being like eating pretty much what you wanted to like, switching it up?
It was difficult. I can't remember as much now, but like if I really, I've never thought about it now in my older years, but when I started, it was working out was hard. I used to hate working out when I was younger. When my parents got divorced, like my life, I felt like really like went in shambles in my mind psychologically. I just felt like everything fell apart for me, and I didn't have like stability. So I think with that, for a lot of kids comes like anxiety eating. Like I would just eat because I felt lonely or I felt misunderstood, or I had a just to eat to forget. I don't know what you call it. I probably need to sit with like a therapist, but I know that I would eat to do something, to like take away from whatever else you were thinking about, or
emotional eating. That's what they kind of
so I would just eat. And living in Florida, like PE, I don't even know if they have PE in schools anymore, but I used to I never did sports, but I did have PE, and I remember they used to make us do like a lap outside, but it used to be so hot. Like I don't know, like 95 degrees outside. And I used to dread working out. So I affiliated working out with like extreme exhaustion and heat. And like, nothing about working out was pleasant for me. So growing up, it was like being healthy, or the thought of like being not healthy, because it was never presented to me as healthy. It was skinny. It was being beautiful and being skinny. It wasn't about being healthy. It was about, and then my mom is from Venezuela. So like all of like the majority of Miss Universes come from Venezuela, and like it's like a beauty capital. So it was about beauty more so than it was about health and about your bodies. It was like, you need to be beautiful, you need to be skinny, you need to have a nice shape, you need to wear your hair down, you need to press it out, you need to wear makeup, you need to have your nails done. But it wasn't like, hey, you need to make sure that like you have cleansed organs, and you need to make sure that you have, you hydrate so you have nice skin and it glows. Like that was never the thing. But I also think too, like we've as a culture become more aware of health as we've evolved now throughout the years. And with the internet, I think we've just become more alert and aware of like what health really is. Because I think back in the day, life was like, people used to have children younger, like people, like especially in my parents' country, Cuba, Venezuela, like kids used to have kids when you were 13, 14, 15 years old. You were already raising a family. You had 10 kids, 12 kids, 15 kids. And so it was like that whole thing about like being healthy, it wasn't spoken about as much as like survival was a thing, So I think now, like as the generations have evolved from millennials forward, it's like more of a talked about thing about being healthy rather than like surviving or being beautiful. It's more like being healthy. So transitioning into working out was like psychologically was difficult for me, because I associated it with like hunger. Like if you're going to be healthy, then you got to be hungry. Eating nasty foods that I wasn't used to eating, which is fruits and vegetables and, things like that. To me, it was nasty because I wasn't used to it. Sweating profusely and like being ugly. And then the insecurity of people seeing you at your weakest point. Like that's all that I associated like health with. So I met with the nutritionist, and she started explaining to me, when I first started my health journey, I was on a paleo diet because I was really trying to like burn fat and be lean. So I'm sure that a lot of people know what a paleo diet is, but they kind of like correlate it to like a caveman diet. So anything that like you would have had in the caveman days is essentially what you would eat. Fruits and vegetables. You still do eat meats, but like lean meats. And so I would eat like chicken and fish during the week. And then on the weekends, I would have some type of like red meat to like balance out my week. And then in the mornings, so basically I was on a very low calorie diet to like lose the weight that I needed to. When I was 19, I had a record deal, and I needed to lose weight for my record deal. So they wanted me to lose 20 pounds.
And how much time did they give you for that?
They didn't give me a certain amount of time, but this was my second chance at like being able to basically make it and like have my dream come true. So it was, to me, it was bigger than it probably was to them, because I was like, if I don't lose this weight, then to them it means that I'm not serious about what I want. So I took it more serious than I've probably taken anything in my whole life. I was like, I have to lose this weight. So in the mornings, basically she taught me how to make things without a lot of salt and pepper. I mean, without a lot of salt, without more pepper than salt, adding garlic to your food, adding onions to your food to give it natural flavors rather than like the sodium that you put in, on your own. Because obviously sodium in excess is terrible for you. She also gave me like brief cooking, like small cooking lessons, how to make healthy salads, how to be able to season your chicken without adding a bunch of prepackaged seasonings. Like adobo, which is something that we use all the time. So she was like, no, we're not going to use that. She was like, if you look at the ingredients, and then she taught me, she was like, if you look at the ingredients and you can't read or know what's in it, then it's probably not good for your body. She took me to the grocery store and taught me how to shop. She's like, usually when you go to the grocery store, everything that's in between the aisles is probably not good for you because it's prepackaged. So she's like, how you shop is you go in and you go either to the right or the left, and you go around everything that's in the middle. And those are usually the things that are valuable for your body. Mm-hmm. So I learned to shop for fruits, vegetables, poultry, and it just like kind of go around. But she's like, anything that comes in a can, yes, you can use it for emergencies and stuff like that. But she was like, if you have to get something in a can, or you want something that's easier, then I'd rather you get frozen organic fruits rather than like packaged fruits, like canned fruits, or because she's like, there's so much preservatives in there and it's not good for your body. So that's how I kind of like started learning what was good for me. And then I became infatuated with the results because I started seeing immediate results. Like my skin became better. That was like the first thing. And then when I started seeing the amount of weight loss that I had and the amount of muscle gain that I had, I was like, wow, this is something that I really, really want to maintain. Mm-hmm. And so I started working out heavily at that time. Like I would do 2 a days because at that time I had a goal. So I would do a boot camp in the morning, and then I would do a weight training session for an hour. So it was like an hour of boot camp and a weight training session. So I would be able to burn fat in the morning and improve my agility and my function. Like what do you call that? Like your athletic function basically. Yeah. And then I would train to increase like my muscle mass. Okay. After that. And then, on like 3 days, I was living in LA at the time, which is probably the best place to probably, get into fitness. I would do like Runyon Canyon, or I would go to UCLA and run around the track. And I got to a point where, I also think it's important for young girls to realize too, like you can become obsessive, and it can become something that becomes your obsession with being healthy can become unhealthy. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really important thing to say, because I remember at that time I became so obsessed with my results that then I started doing 3 times a day. And I used to go to Equinox, and I used to do the bicycle for a really extensive amount of time. And so I was then doing 3 a days, and I would do 5 miles at UCLA, and I would still do my weight training to the point where, I would look at myself in the mirror, and I thought that I could improve even more, and I could improve even more, and I could improve even more, to where some people are like, we think that maybe you have an eating disorder or body dysmorphia. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to give yourself a goal and know what it is that you want, and then be able to assess it and journal it. Like I think a lot of people journal too, and like talk about how it is that you felt beginning your journey and what it is that you want to feel at the end of your journey. Yeah. And then while you are on that journey, looking back to the beginning and seeing if you've actually reached that goal. Because I think that when you're trying to get to something, it's very easy to go beyond it, and then you're like now lost in the sauce. Like you drank the Kool-Aid, and now you're like obsessive. And it's easy for humans to become obsessive with something, especially from like success, right? Mm-hmm. So after that, I started slowing down, and I started becoming busy with art rather than like working out. So I started doing dancing and going to the studio. And I remember being really worried about like, was I letting go of that like lifestyle that I had created? Again, like I think it became like an obsessive thing, which I think it's important for people to be careful with. And then I think after a while, I started really finding a balance. Okay. I used to be like on 800 calorie diets, 1200 calorie diets. Wow. And then as I progressed, I realized like more calories, more healthier calories is better to be able to maintain. And I started doing things like, instead of going to cycle for an hour and then a boot camp, I would go to a dance class, or I would go to a yoga class, or I would go run on the beach. And I started finding things that kind of gave me like, oh, by the way, working out really helped my mental. Because I think when I was younger, wanting to look like my mom, my parents getting divorced, not necessarily finding a place. I used to change schools every year when I was younger because my mom was trying to find her balance as a young woman. I used to not feel like I had a place in school. So I think that I carried a lot of insecurity as a young girl growing into a young adult. To be able to find things that really help your mental state in working out is really important. And I think that that's probably why I became so obsessive with working out and eating so little at the time, was because I loved the results, and the results weren't just physical, but they came from other people, like the energy that other people gave me, and the way that I was able to decompress in the gym. I think it's important for you to find things that in working out that feed your soul as well as feed your body, things that like help your mind. So if there's things that you like to do, a lot of people are always like, when they see me posting workout stuff, they're like, how do you do that? That seems so difficult. How do you wake up in the morning to do it? Or where do you find that like motivation or that strength, right? I think it's about finding things that you actually like that help you move your body. So if you're a person that likes to dance, then don't go to a dance class where you feel like everyone is going to look at you. Go to the club. Go to the club and find someone to dance with. Go to even if you don't know how to dance, like let's say if you're a girl and you go out with your homegirls and there's 5 other guys and they're dancing and they don't have anyone to dance with, dance for an hour at the club. And then you guys can go and get something to eat after. If you love getting a tan and you're someone who loves the beach and you love the water, then go to the shore of the water and like walk a mile inside of the water, like where, you like, and walk down the shore. So it's like, it's not a fast walk, but you're inside of the water. You're still getting cool. Like you're still cool, but you're working out your legs and you're still getting a cardio workout, or, if you want to feel like a breeze, but you still want to be outside, go to a park that has shade and ride your bicycle or a rollerblade. I love, the jump rope. The jump rope does miracles. If you jump rope for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's something that'll keep you active. That's not boring. I just got a mirror for Christmas.
Oh, you did?
And I think that the mirror is really great for people who don't like to be outside, who don't like to be super hot, and don't like, super extreme sun exposure. Like there's Pilates on there. I'm sorry. I had got a call. Okay. There's Pilates on there. There's boxing on there. There's seated weight training on there for people who maybe can't use their legs as much or have difficulty using their legs. There's meditation. There's yoga. There's so many classes on there, because I also been wanting to get a Peloton. But the mirror, I think, is a lot more diverse. Like, you could just do so much more with the mirror for people who just aren't as prepared to do something like ride your bicycle at an intense pace or whatever. I think going to the zoo with your family or Disney World and taking long walks, like I think all of those things count for your physical fitness. Like going to the mall and going window shopping if you have no money. Like, I think that's a thing. Like, all of that counts towards physical fitness. I think you have to start small, and you have to start with things that make you excited. You like to create clothes and you're interested in fashion, then go to a fabric store and start looking around. And you know what I'm saying? Wear ankle weights on your ankles when you go with your sneakers, and like things like that. Like, find find the happiness in it for you and start slow like that. And then eventually you can grow to something that's bigger that maybe accelerates your heart rate even more. But I don't think that working out has to be rigid. I think that working out has to be something enjoyable that you can maintain for a long period of time and eventually make it into a lifestyle. Because when you do something for results, once you have those results, it's easy to quit. Because you're like, all right, I already have it. And then, I found that that's something that happens with me. Like when I have a goal, a music video, I prepare for that. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go on like a 3-month binge and I'm not working out and I'm eating whatever I want. So it's important to find things that you love within your like regimen.
You are so right about all of it. And I'm so happy that you brought up the mental health component, because that's so important. Are there any things that you do, whether it's, any apps that you use, books that you're reading, if you go to church, I don't know, whatever that thing is, what is it for you that keeps you balanced?
Well, last night it's funny because I couldn't go to sleep and I started to pray. And I was like, I had slept during the day and that totally messes me up. Mm-hmm. And I started to pray about, so when I pray, because I mean, everybody I'm sure prays differently and I'm not a super religious person, but I think that this helps me a lot, is to start naming every single thing that I'm thankful for. Like I'm thankful for my voice. I'm thankful that I'm able to smell. I'm thankful that I'm able to hear. I'm thankful that I'm able to see, that I'm able to walk, that I have 10 toes and 10 fingers. And I literally name every single thing in my life, that I have hair, that I have family members. Like I literally name everything about my body, then everything about my strength, then all of my organs. Like I literally just start naming all of the things that I'm thankful for. I think with mental health, the problem is you start thinking about everything that's wrong and all of the things that you don't have. And I think it's important to remind yourself, and I say prayer, but it doesn't have to be prayer per se. Like you don't have to say it to your God or to whatever, even if you're just reminding yourself of it, but telling yourself all of the things that you do have, because I think it's easy to forget everything you have, especially when you see everything that everyone else has in a world where all you see is everyone else's greatness and perfection and not everything that they're working on. I love this book by Florence Scovel called The Game of Life and How to Play It. I remember being in a very depressed place. I felt like I couldn't find my strength. I couldn't find myself. And my vocal coach was like, I think that you should read this book. And trust me, it's going to help you. And I was never a really big reader. Like I was someone that read, and I was like, oh my God, this guy wants me to read a book. Like what the heck? Like a book? Like I don't have the energy to read a book. I just can't get into it. And he was like, don't worry about it. He's like, just read 2 pages. He's like, if you read 2 pages, you'll be far along. And I read that book. I started on 2 pages and I immediately felt different. I think it's a book that with examples teaches you, because I think sometimes you read like self-help books and they lack spirituality, or they lack examples of how it's like, oh, you should do this, but it's like, but how? Or did someone else do it? Can you show me? And this book gives you very vivid examples of what it is that it's trying to help you do. I also read this year, I told myself that I was going to read The Alchemist. I absolutely love that book. I would tell anyone, I feel like that helps with mental health, only because I think if you could really get into that book and really understand what it's about, I think it can help you a lot. And I'm a type of person who I like fantasy mixed with spirituality and also self-help. And I think The Alchemist is probably the greatest example of that. But The Game of Life and How to Play It, for anyone who's in a depressed place or someone who just needs like something to bring them up, I think that this book is like game changer, like a game changing book. Doing yoga has helped me a lot. A lot of people are like, I can't, I've done yoga with my little sister and she's like, oh my God, this is so intense. This hurts so bad. I think start at a beginner level and just stretch. I think stretching for someone that maybe can't even do yoga, stretching, like there's YouTube videos, like 5 minute, 10 minute, like even if you don't have a mirror or you can't go to a class or you can't afford it. Cause that's a big thing with a lot of us. Like we don't have the money. We don't have $10 to go to a class or $15 to go to a class, but we do have YouTube on our phone. And you can pull up YouTube and there's stretches that like just stretching helps with decompressing your mind, like being able to like get all of the stress that's out in your limbs and like trapped inside of your body. That's something that's helped me a lot as well. Running helps me a lot. I think not running on a treadmill, but running somewhere that you feel like, again, is like physically like aesthetic, like the aesthetic, it matches like what you, or just walking. But that helps with my mental too, because you're able to like, when you're running or when you're walking, you're separating yourself from other people and other thoughts and other things that are around you. So you're having time to yourself, like you're escaping from everything else that's going on. So you're able to process your thoughts in a different way. And there was something else that I wanted to say. I can't remember now, but I'm sure that it'll come to me. But reading has helped me. Stretching has helped me. Yoga has helped me. And I think also having a friend, having someone, I know that there's some of us who are always like, well, everyone has somebody, but some people really don't have anyone. And they really like go through life singularly. And I know that could be really scary because sometimes, especially in these times, people have lost really significant family members or friends or the only people that they've had. And that's why I think that prayer is really important, to like remind yourself of all of the things that you do have, because although you may be in this life what feels like alone, you still have everything that God has given you to be able to create more. And I think that as you become more spiritual, you realize all of the things that you have are within you. And what you have on the inside, it basically breeds what happens on the outside. Let's say that, you've been through situations where you feel like you can't trust anyone, or you've been betrayed, or you've been raped, or you've been abandoned, or you've been, I believe that with a lot of inner work, seeing a therapist, there's also free therapy, like government funded therapy that you can take to sit down and have conversations to take the light out from inside of you, because I do believe that everyone does have, we all do. I don't believe it. I know that we all have this. And the more, again, that you're thankful, and the more that you speak on the things that you feel like have broken you and the things that you feel like have held you back, the more you assess the problem that you feel like you have, because once you start asking yourself questions, then you can see where the root of your problem is. Then you can find a solution for it, and then you can build on that. So I think it's important to have conversations with friends. And if you don't, then pray to find that strength. And then there is government funded therapy that you can go to, or find someone that you can have a conversation with that perhaps is maybe not even someone that maybe it's someone that's completely random. I think that it's healthy to talk about the way that you feel, because we all are going through something. Like we all have traumas, we all have things that are unresolved. So I just think it's very important to let out the stuff that you have inside, because you don't realize that stuff, it makes you tense, and it makes you dark, and it makes you terrified. And you don't realize that that's the energy that you're giving off to the world. And then eventually that's the stuff that you're receiving for you.
Well, you are definitely an example of a woman who who knows the value of hard work in, every part of your life, whether it's from your career to, just having a healthy lifestyle, and seeing how that can take you to the next level when it comes to your appearance of your skin and just how you feel and how it makes you happy. So when you hear the words pretty girl sweat. What do they mean to you?
As I've evolved, I've realized that pretty has a stigma on it that's like been created by society that has nothing to do with what pretty actually is. Pretty is perceived to be something that's physical. I believe that pretty is something that is spiritual. I think a pretty person is a person that has the energy to be able to change someone else's life. I think our purpose in this world is to be able to contribute to other people and the world. And I think that's what pretty is. I think pretty girls do sweat. Pretty girls don't only sweat in the way of working out, but pretty girls sweat because it's very difficult to be pretty. Being pretty is a lot of hard work. Being pretty is constantly giving. Being pretty is constantly learning and being able to exude and give all the things that you have studied and put into yourself. So pretty girls sweat means hard work and dedication to be able to contribute. Like the sweat is the contribution and the prettiness is what you've given yourself to be able to give to someone else. So pretty girl sweat to me is hard work, because it may not be physical, but hard work is everything that you do constantly. So whether that is feeding your body, the right food, the right information, the right atmosphere, those are the things those things take time, those things take energy, those things, like that's what the sweat is for me. Like sweat is the energy that's exerted to complete something. That's what comes out of your body. It's like the energy that's exerted for completion, or for yes, completion. That's the word that I want to use. So there's no way that a pretty girl could be pretty without sweat.
Well, that was like the best way to end. That was so perfect. Oh my gosh, that was great. And I also, of course, I have more rapid fire questions that you can simply answer in one word, and I can either just like email that to you and you just respond with like the one word answer, so we can use that in like promotional little posts and stuff.
Okay.
For Instagram. But this was a good, really, I mean, just awesome conversation. Like it really was. And I'm so glad.
It takes years though. I think, one more thing, I think that patience is a virtue. And patience, I think it's very important to treat yourself how you treat other people. I think that we always talk about what we're going to give other people, and we don't give everyone the compassion that we give other people. We don't give everyone the love that we don't give ourselves the love that we give other people, and we don't have the patience with ourselves that we have with other people. I see my sister, she just recently became a mom. A year ago I just became an auntie, and the forgiveness that you give to your children, and the chances and the things that you do, basically, like even for a significant other, like I think that even for women with men, or for women with women, or vice versa, whatever it is, like in relationships, we always give people other chances to figure it out, and we always make excuses for other people, and but I don't feel like women do that enough for themselves. Like you don't give yourself another opportunity. Like, okay, so today you didn't work out. Okay, so what? So tomorrow you can work out. Like, okay, so you didn't get that job, but you can get another job, or you can apply again, or you can study more and get it again. Like, I think that my entire life, I've always been in a rush to get to the finish line. And I didn't have patience. I'm like, well, if I don't accomplish something by this age, then it's over. Like I can't accomplish it. I think patience is the key to life. One time I was talking to Slim from Cash Money.
Okay.
And I was so desperate. I was just like, and I just haven't accomplished this, and I haven't gotten to this place in my life. And he would always, if you know anything about Slim, he's just like really like soft spoken and really like slow paced. And he was like, Veronica, you just need to have patience. And I was like, patience? Like what patience? Like I have patience. I've been waiting my whole life. Like I've been patient. And he's like, no, patience is knowing that something is going to happen. It's having faith. Patience is faith. And you just know that it's going to be. He was like, you need to have faith. You need to know that something is going to happen. And if you're continuously working for something, I think that a lot of us forget about that, and you feel like it's not going to happen because it hasn't happened yet, or I'm not going to get something because I've just been working on it for 10 years and it hasn't happened. There is no timeline for what God wants for you. And you can be 70 years old and be what you want to be. But you have to want it, and you have to believe that it's going to happen for you. And you need to have patience. Like patience is knowing, is having faith that it will be. That's what patience is.
You are 1000% right. Thanks to Slim for those words of wisdom, because it's so true.
It's hard to be patient. Patience is discipline. Like discipline is a big thing. Like, but you have to, like, patience is it. Like, just have patience and continue to do your due diligence.
Yeah, especially with your wellness journey. So many people are looking for quick fixes. It's like, oh, well, let me drink this tea. Let me get this waist trainer. Let me, do these crash diets. That's not the answer. Like you said earlier, like consistency and finding what you love and doing it over and over again is how you get the results. And that you also have to have the patience and the faith to know that if I do these things over and over and over and over again, at some point I will, achieve my goal. And so it's hard for
and
people.
By the way, there is a lot of, it's important too to, if you don't have health care, to figure out your healthcare situation. That's another thing that I want to say as far as health goes. I'm just now getting healthcare. It's so important to be able to go to the doctor once a year to see what's going on with your body, to make sure that your blood levels are right, to be able, because a lot of times I've noticed that a lot of women are like, I've been working out for 2 years and I haven't lost any weight. You need to make sure that you're going to the doctor and see that you don't have any underlying issues that's going on with your body. So it's important to, if you don't have health care, to make sure that you do something about that. And there is ways to get affordable health care now.
Yeah. Well, if people want more inspiration from you, more words of wisdom, where could they find you?
I wish that I was doing something. I've taken time off from my career, from everything in general, because I needed time for myself. But you can go on my Instagram. Sometimes I'll say certain things in my stories more so than my hard post of Veronica Vega. Everything is Veronica Vega. My Twitter is Veronica Vega. I also do a bike ride called A to MIA, and I'm planning to do this ride again next year. And once I do that, there will be a website where you'll be able to go on, and I plan on like evolving the brand into something where you'll be able to get more information on really becoming a better version of yourself, because that's really what the bike ride is for me. It's just like, you don't have to be the greatest of what someone else is. You have to be like the greatest of what you are. And I believe now more than ever that every person has their special magic. Like, you wouldn't be you if you were supposed to be like someone else, then there wouldn't be a you, there would just be a them. So I think it's important too to like find the things that make you happy and make you special, and then grow on those things. So yeah, girl, that's what it's about for me. It's like becoming the best version of you is the thing that will inspire somebody else to find the best version of them. But you becoming someone else isn't where it's at.
No, not at all. I mean, your journey from Atlanta to Miami, I mean, the mental strength you had to have to do that and the courage you had to have to do that, I can't even wrap my head around. If you want to go into that a little bit, just about tackling that goal and how you felt at the end of it all, like, did you just feel like you could do anything now because you accomplished something that seems so far-fetched for so many people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that definitely solidified the anything is possible quote that people talk about. The thing with me is, I guess from a young age, I wasn't scared of hard work. And some people haven't learned that. Some people have never really like focused on working hard. But I think if you are a person who understands what hard work is and is willing to work hard, then you know for sure that anything is possible. Like you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish in life. The A to MIA bike ride was a bike ride from Atlanta to Miami on a regular bike, no motor. It took 17 days on our first trip. We did it twice. We did it 2 years in a row. We're planning on doing it now for a third year coming up in 2022. Sorry, I forget my years these days. So it took us 17 days to accomplish. We would ride from the morning to the evening, but like from sunrise to sunset. We'd stay at a hotel every night to rest. We did it with a group of what started off as 2 people turned into 6 people on the first year's ride. Our age range of participants was from 17 to 70 years old.
Wow.
Our weight range was from 130 to 400 pounds. Yeah. So I think going on the journey, not only for myself, but seeing other people participate on the ride that were in different places in their life really validated that anything is possible, not just for me, because if somebody sees my physical appearance or my age, they're like, oh, well, yeah, it's possible for you, but it's not possible for me. Like I am 350 pounds. I can't do it, you know? That's not true, because I had somebody on the bike ride that weighed well over 350 pounds and they rode it all the way from Atlanta to Miami. Oh, well, I'm too old. That's not true, because I had somebody on the bike ride that was well over 65. Oh, I'm too young. I can't do it. No, I had somebody that was 17. I think that it's more so about your mental state and your desire to want to accomplish it rather than your actual physical abilities. It's definitely a more mental task than it is a physical task, although it's a physical task for sure. But it definitely takes more mentally to accomplish this ride than it does physically, because every day as you ride and you accomplish and you leave, you know, you leave 50 miles behind you or 30 miles behind you, you're like, well, I already did that. I already accomplished that. So what, you know, who cares about the rest? And it's very easy to just be like, well, I already did enough. And I think it's everything on the bike on this particular ride is very reflective to real life, because again, you can do, let's say, you could say, like I said, when we were speaking earlier about journaling and you're like, this is what I want to accomplish. It's about achieving what you wanted to accomplish and not looking and being like, well, I did enough. It's like, yeah, but what did you want to accomplish? And did you get there? The goal was to finish. Right. The goal wasn't to complete 200 miles. So are you going to give up on yourself or your goal? And I think that was the thing that like kind of was at the forefront the entire time for every single person that was on the ride, because once you reach the Florida-Georgia line, it's like, oh, we already rode through a state. We're so accomplished. You know, it's like Beyonce, like she's accomplished so much, but every time she continues to give us more as she evolves, and her goals are bigger and bigger every time. If you can't accomplish your first goal, then you will not reach your second goal. So I think completion is a very important thing. If you tell yourself that you're going to do something, it's important to do it for you, to show yourself that it is possible. Because you've done 300, 400 miles, but you didn't finish. And it's not, did you finish for me? Because we're going to finish. That was a conversation that I had with so many people on the ride. It's like, well, we're going to finish, but you're going to look back and be like, oh, well, you're going to tell yourself, not what are you going to tell everyone else, but, oh yeah, I went to the Florida-Georgia line, but you didn't finish for you. So I think it's important. I'm a big person too, like start what you finish what you start. Like that's such an important thing, because if how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So if you're gonna quit on this, and it gets very difficult. There's days when it rains and you gotta ride through the rain. There's days that cars pass by and they splash water on you. There's days that there's 30 miles between, nutrition and hydration, and you're super exhausted. There's days that it's so hot that it's unbearable. There's mornings that it's freezing and you want a sweater and you can't carry it. There's days and I think that all applies to life. There's mornings that your legs hurt so bad that you're just like, I cannot get on the bike today. I will not get on the bike today. And it reminds me of days when your parents are sick, or your child needs to get to school, and you've had the longest day at work, and you're just like, I don't want to wake up today, but your child needs to get to their activity, or they need to get to school, or they need to go to the hospital, or your child is sick. Like, these are the things, like, if you can't get through that, then what can you get through? And so I think it's important, like the bike ride is just so like metaphorically symbolic to life in a very fast and in a very like compressed amount of time, because life is like a long journey that just is, just continues to go on. But in 17 days, you're able to experience real life-changing things in a very short amount of time, like big life lessons in a very short period of time. So that's why I value the bike ride so much. And yeah, when I went through my own personal things on that ride, I remember falling off of my bike, falling into like a ditch full of mud, and sitting in it and crying my eyes out and being like, why am I on this stupid bike ride? Because I think too, again, symbolic to life, like when you're doing things that are very difficult and you have very big goals, you fall down and you look at everything and you're just like, what is the point of this? Like, why am I even doing this? And you question your reasoning to even start whatever it is that you started. And then you're like, do I even want to do this? And you start questioning, what, like, is this even part of your goals? And you have to sit down and really be like, no, there was a reason why I started this. And this is something that I really want to do. And it means something to me. And that's fine. If I want to sit here and cry and feel sorry for myself now, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I'm going to sit in the mud. And then I'm going to dust myself off, and I'm going to get on my bike. And even though it hurts and my knees are scraped up and I'm soaked from the rain and I have mud inside of my freaking eye ducts and I'm thirsty and dehydrated, I am going to ride to the next place to make sure that I can get my hydration, and I'm going to keep riding my bike because this is something that I wanted to do. So, again, it's just so many things on the bike ride that like, everyone had a moment like that. Maybe they didn't fall into a mud ditch, but there was people that fell off their bike. There was people that got chased by dogs. There was people that were so sore that they were like, I can't move. There was, your butt hurt so bad on the third day that it almost feels like you cannot sit. Like you can't sit on a chair. You can't sit on a bed. You can't sit anywhere. Like your butt is on fire, like a different kind of fire that I have never felt in my entire existence. Wow. And to be able to, again, to have that willpower and that drive and that mental strength to be like, it's going to hurt today, but if I move past it, it's just like when you work out and you're really sore, and then you're going to work out 2 days later and you're like, I'm so sore that I can't do a squat, but you're like, I'm going to work out, and you still push through it. Then on the day after that, then you're not as sore. It's just, you realize that your body can take more than you know. It's your mind that really holds you back. And so those are also things that you learn on the ride. And you also learn a lot of teamwork on the bike ride. I learned a lot of teamwork. I remember days where I was just like, oh my God, these people, they're so slow and they're complaining and they're this and they're that, right? And I'm riding ahead and I left everyone behind. And well, the person that has the inner tubes for the bike ride, I left them behind. And so now I have a flat tire. And I'm so ahead. I'm 5 miles ahead of them, but now I got to stop and wait until they get here. And so you learn teamwork. You learn to help, to wait for people, to push people on, to work in teams, to understand that the value is not only in you, but also in the people that are around you. And so it's important to treat people fairly and to love on other people and to make sure that it's like in life, you can't do anything alone. It takes a village of people. That was another lesson that I learned. Like, it's just, you can't do it by yourself. Yes, you can. I could have gone on the ride by myself, had my inner tube, but I went with a group of people. So why would I leave those people behind? Mm-hmm. Although I may have been ahead physically or whatever it was, like, I needed those people and those people needed me. Mm-hmm. And so again, it's a very emotional trip, a very emotional trip. And when people arrive at the end, it's so beautiful because a lot of people don't believe that they can make it when they start. Mm-hmm. It seems, it's like saying what your wildest dream is. It's like saying, I want to go to space. I want to be an astronaut, right? And it's like, I'm never going to become an astronaut. That's how most people that come on the bike ride feel. And then at the end of the ride, they're an astronaut. And it's like the tears that they cry is different. It like opens your world to the impossible, to the things that you really never imagined could be true. And that is like super fulfilling because you're like, holy cow, like now you know, like even if you don't want to put in that work again, what you do know is it's possible. Like it's freaking possible.
These questions are pretty quick. I just want to know some basic things about you when it comes to, you know, your health and your wellness. So tell us really fast, how many hours a night do you sleep?
Like 8.
Oh, that's good.
I sleep a lot. I'm a sleeper.
Okay. What is one thing that makes you smile?
Food.
Okay. You mentioned this earlier about your favorite books, but was one of them like your favorite book of all time?
The Alchemist.
Awesome. Okay. If you could pick one exercise to do every single day that you find to be so much fun, which one would it be?
Jump roping.
Okay. Who tops your workout playlist?
Bad Bunny.
Okay. What's your favorite healthy food to eat?
Red apples.
Okay. All right. What about for a cheat meal? What's your go-to?
I don't have a specific thing. A cheeseburger.
Okay.
French fries. French fries.
Okay. All right. What's your go-to beauty product? One you just can't live without?
Hairspray.
Okay. All right. What's in your gym bag? Like if you left this one thing at home, you would turn around and go all the way back to get it.
Hair tie.
Okay. All right. What about deodorant? What kind of deodorant do you use?
I use Degree. It's like the best deodorant for me. I've used Secret. But I moved to Degree and it works really good for me.
Good. And it's just like the basic kind. Is there any specific scent? Okay.
Good to know. I don't know the scent. I can't remember the scent. Okay. I can't remember the scent.
No problem. All right.
It's probably Powder Fresh.
Powder Fresh. Okay, that's a go-to. What is something that you typically eat after a workout?
A protein shake.
Okay. And what do you find to be your quickest and most effective workout? Like if you need to get back in shape quick for like a photo shoot, what do you do?
It has to be one word?
No, it can be a sentence or so.
I'll do like calisthenics, like agility training, like, you know, things that include like weight training mixed with cardio, because cardio works really well for me to drop weight. Okay. So, but I wouldn't just do cardio because then you just kind of become soft. So it would be like a balance of both in between.
Are there any like fitness influencers or celebrities that you look up to or peers that you're like, wow?
The Rock!
Oh yes, The Rock. is it. Oh, he is like the ultimate like health motivation. I swear.
The Rock. I love The Rock. The Rock is like, The Rock inspires me in so many ways, in every way in life. I love The Rock.
Yeah, he's loved that.
If I had to choose a girl, I would say two girls.
Okay. Oh.
J-Lo and Sierra.
Oh yeah, those are great options too. Those two kill it in every way. Love it. Okay.